Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Asma binti Mudarawash, and this is my warm welcome to you to Pecuniary Season 5, Episode 1, where all of our discussion will be all about ringgit. So tonight we have a very special guest with us named Professor Dr. Suhaimi bin Muhammad Sarif, where we'll be talking about business ethics, turning business ethics into actions. So Professor, how are you doing tonight?
Alhamdulillah, thank you very much.
Alhamdulillah, it is an honor for us to have you for the night, so thank you so much for
My
spending your
pleasure.
time for us. So Professor, we're not going to try to waste any more of our time because it seems like we have a lot of things to cover. And so we're going to have a few segments for everybody to follow through the session for tonight. So we're going to start off by understanding what is business ethics, what is the values as well as the SDGs. And for that, I will start off with my first question, which is what is your definition of business ethics and what are the examples of good and or bad business ethics we can see now?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalam ala asrafil anbiya wa mursalin wa ala alihi wasahbihi ajmain. When you talk about business ethics, from the term ethics is about the principles of right and wrong.
Right.
And when we talk about business ethics, the principle of right and wrong that based on the business norms, business values, and also business guideline. In other words, we're talking about the values from the stakeholders. And more importantly, when we talk about business, we are not running from three elements. We talk about the legal, we talk about the economics, and also the morality. And when you talk about good, when you can bring benefits to the stakeholders, to the people. So the practices of good business ethics, when you can bring goodness to the people, when you are good in your business practices, fair dealing, no misleading information. You give good value to the consumers.
Right.
The bad one when you have the one that we heard in the news,
Right.
the hoarding, the price fixing.
Exactly.
And then they simply hoard, they simply cap their goods inside the warehouse in order to increase the price, which we call the artificial increase in the market. And who is suffering? The people are suffering.
Right.
And we'll call the people who are very poor, they couldn't get their basic needs. The basic needs are now we have to control. We have to control those goods because of the unethical practices of the business. And this is clearly when I talk about business ethics from Islamic perspective. Islam also, we are not running from three. We talk about the Aqidah.
Right.
We talk about the Sharia and ethics, akhlaq. So Islam will not be perfect if we forget about akhlaq. That's why when come to the good business ethics, you're going to get your good reputation, and people will welcome you, and you're going to have a long-term profitability.
Right.
Because people are going to love to come and continue to buy your products, and not only that, they can also give investment to your products, and they will also widespread the good things about you. The word of mouth. One of the powerful marketing in the business is the word of mouth. When the customers who consume the product will market, will tell others about the good things about the products.
Right.
And when come your business, and you're going to have more investors to come in. Now we're talking about the Madani government.
Exactly.
So why suddenly now we have people interested to come and invest in our country because they see that the value that we have. Our businesses are now are very prudent. They are very transparent. They are very very fair in their dealing. They're going to treat the workers as their family members. And then with this, the investor can see the benefit, not just about money, but long-term money. Because business, they don't run business for short term.
Right.
They want to do business long term. And the investment in values is very, very important.
Right.
So that's why the subject business is becoming compulsory in the business studies, because we wanted to make sure that the business that we are dealing is not going to give harms to the people and also harms to the business for long term. That is my
That is your
general
definition.
definition.
That is actually a really good definition. What really stands out to me is when you talk about how, when you have good values, good business ethics, when you understand it from that perspective, the companies would actually benefit more. You know, they'd
Exactly.
actually have a long-term trust with, and also good business with the stakeholders and other companies and so on. And because of that, you also given the examples on how does it actually benefits the company. But I guess what intrigues us as well is how do good business ethics would not only benefit the company, but what about if one were to practice bad business ethics? So what will that contribute to?
Yeah, the bad business ethics will be, you're going to face a lot of lawsuits, penalties. For example, you don't follow the government regulation about the what called the label, for example, then you're going to get the penalty. And for example, you run what I call a food business, and you
Right.
don't comply to the license, you don't comply to the regulation, easily you'll be fined. You see people are doing illegal business. They are not doing in peaceful. They have to run, and why this law is being gazetted is because to protect the welfare of the people. Yeah? The reason of the law is not to burden or to harm the people. Law is meant to provide the minimum protection to the people, and in the case now, not just people, the environment, and also the general well-being of the society.
Right.
That is the meaning of law. But when we talk about ethics, it's beyond the what I call law-abiding people. Ethics about you respect the law, and you do better than that. In other words, yes, you have law, you have to obtain license,
Right.
you have to put the label, halal label and whatnot, and you have to follow the directive of the government to, for example, nowadays, Rahmah price, you follow
Yes.
that. But beyond that, you must be number one, you have to do good things with your own internal stakeholders, which is your own employees. Can you
Right.
imagine a business without having good employees? They are the one who operate the business, isn't it?
Right.
If they don't pay attention, they are not productive, and then the products that they produce will
It's
be
not going to be
substandard
exactly.
and will be not good. And at the end, the business also cannot prolong their business.
Yeah.
So that's why that's why that when we talk about the minimum wage,
Right.
and now the government already make it compulsory, which is now legally binding.
Right.
But again, there are also employers are not happy. They say, no, this is very costly.
Yeah.
But again, they have forgotten, investment in the employees mean that they will increase the value, the productivity, and also the innovation and the creativity to the products and services. And we talk about the whole ecosystem of business. It's not just about the business. We're talking also about the consumers, the society. So they are the ones who supply the labor, and business supply the product and services to the society,
Right.
and return society will purchase. So this we call the flow of the economy. We call the linear flow of the economy. But now we're talking about morality and talking about sustainability. It's not just about economy, about legal, but we're talking about now morality and also sustainability. In other words, the flow of economy is going to be what we call the circular flow economy. It's no longer waste, no longer inefficiency, no longer you pay people under wage, and then
Right.
people are not being treated well. People are sick, you don't pay.
Right.
Employers are very particular about the medical benefit, because for them, like paying the medical bills of the employees
Right.
are costly. But they forgotten these are employees. They use their brain, their creativity, to make sure that your company can continue to offer the best product and services to the market. This good practice can give your return.
Right.
Return in your investment. Investment in the sense, your reputation. You will be known that you are good employers,
Right.
and also your employees have a sense of pride, sense of belonging to the company,
Exactly.
and they will make the company as their second home. They don't want to go home.
Right.
And then the consumers also, they are very, very attached to the product. and they don't want. They are loyal to the products.
Right.
Can you see, the impact,
Yeah.
the
It goes
internship?
on.
Yes.
There's a chain to it. So when you do the good
Yes.
thing, it goes on and on and on and
Exactly.
on. Right.
It's not just about transactional between you and seller and the buyer. It's about family, about the
Right.
human race, human family.
Mm-hmm.
This all ethics is all about. Ethics is
Right.
not just about philosophy. Of course, when philosophers, they talk about right and wrong from Aristotle, from Socrates, and from Al-Ghazali, etc. But that one is good. That one to build our conviction, our aqidah. And the practice is more important, the amal. And talk about amal, the action, we need to have the guideline.
Right.
So that's why the ethics come to guide you on how to do the good things that can give impact. Just like in Islam, you have good faith, aqidah, and you also know about the sharia, and you must have the ethics.
Right.
So if you don't have these three elements, it will come back to you in the it can be
Things could get worse.
yeah,
It's
get
just
worse.
firebacks, right?
Fireback, for example, we talk about nowadays people talk about Islamic finance, Islamic banking, etc. People feel that something wrong is there. Why?
Right.
Why is that? They don't feel they borrow money from the Islamic bank. They feel better. Of
Right.
course, this without riba, but something is missing. What is that? Which is the value of compassionate, the care, which is now what our government Madani is talking about.
Exactly.
We need to have the compassionate, the care, the rahmah, or in our IIUM, the sejahtera,
Right.
sejahtera things that missing.
You know what really stands out to me is when there's a few things that I highlighted here. So you talk about how we would give back to not only people but also the environment. We also talk about the long terms in terms of taking care of people's wellness as well, and so
Yes.
on, right? And these are the keywords that actually would be very, very beneficial for us to actually break through for our next session.
Sure.
So I suppose as of now, because there's so much for us to cover, we will continue a little bit later to talk more about the challenges and as well as the keywords that I highlighted earlier. And we really hope that you can all stay tuned, because right now we are going to have a break and see you guys after. This is from Pecuniary, all about ringgit. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So this is Pecuniary, where all of our discussion would be all about ringgit. So we are back again with our guest for tonight, Professor Dr. Suhaimi bin Muhammad Sarif. So Professor, earlier in the first segment, we've talked about the definition, the values, and even we mentioned the SDGs as well, even though we didn't really get enough time to go through them as much. But now we're actually going to move on, as we will be focusing on the challenges in business ethics. Now, I'm sure the keywords that we highlighted, especially about environment, workers, tending to the wellness of the people, and so on, will be touched somehow in terms of the challenges in business ethics. So I will give you the very first question that we're going to talk about, which is, what is your take on the no-give policy being practiced in some companies such as Maybank and Petronas?
Okay, when talk about give, I think this is a classic case being asked by people. If you don't have any position, will there people going to give you gift?
Right.
Very simple question. The answer will be no. So you just stay somewhere here, will people give you something? No, right? Because you don't have any value.
Right.
So why is that? Why is that someone, vendors or clients wanted to give to you? Because you talk about the company you mentioned just now, like Petronas, dealing with a lot of oil and gas projects, dealing with contractors, vendors who wanted to have, the multi-billions of the project. It's not 1 million, multi-billion. And the gift that they give might cause conflict of interest. The key is that conflict of interest to the gatekeepers in Petronas. And Petronas dealing with oil and gas. You give an example like Maybank dealing with transaction, loans, investment, etc. And again, this also the interest of the vendors, the clients, etc. And why it's very clear that this company is in the interest, the shareholders is not just normal shareholders, but they belongs to the government.
Right.
And the investors, called the shareholders of Maybank, belongs to EPF, the government, and then this represent the large the public, and Petronas represent this the country's company. And if you are not transparent, you are not ethical, and ethical here is not just you practice silently. You have to declare explicitly that you are very clear, that you are transparent. No give, we meant no give. In every transaction, you must follow our procedures. And if you have the merit, you fulfill the criteria, you will be awarded with the contract. If you are not, then that's it. Then you have to find ways. So this no-give policy is very important to communicate or to send a message to the public that these companies are very serious. And no-give means we are very concerned about giving value to the company in terms of the returns, the dividend, the profit for the company, and in return the country will receive the benefit. And if they don't declare, and people will continue because the under table or behind it, because give is not just material, monetary. It can be in kinds. It can be also in pleasure and whatnot. This is happening in oil and gas industry. So not just I think not just Petronas, what I call Maybank. I think almost all companies who sign up with the Anti-Corruption Commission now declare they also have no give policy, including IIUM also already declared that this university is practicing no give policy. Of course, give is good. It's good, but this must be not because of the interest. The interest must be genuine, because I give you something not because I have some transaction, but I give purely because I want to give something. And of course, in Islam, to share, to give is good. The upper hand is better than the lower hands. But in the context of no conflict of interest. Okay, no conflict of interest. If you have conflict of interest and you realize there's conflict in you, then you have to avoid, or you have to declare to the person. And the gatekeepers must declare, sorry, if you want me to give my decision based on this gift, sorry, I cannot accept. And even if you do this, and we will put you under the blacklist. Mean to say that you are trying, or you an attempt to to break our ethics in our company. And this has to declare. You have to declare. You cannot just keep quiet. That's what the big talk about policy mean. You have to declare, and you have to make it into actions.
Right.
Yes.
You know, it's interesting that because part of the question we gave you example like me being a Petronas, right? But as you elaborate, you actually mention IUM as well. So I'm assuming perhaps one of those situations where I've seen it like in the US, there's like even a documentary about it where there's like parents who pay their child way in to the university. So in the sense that once the university itself sets up the rule of no give policy, then such things wouldn't happen, right?
Yes.
So in a way, we could say that if that were to happen, then it means that it's a bad business. So there's no ethics being applied at
Yes.
all, right? And because of that, it actually makes me wonder, what is like your response or when it comes to the root that caused towards bad ethics? And also, do you actually believe that the world could actually implement 100% good business ethics, or perhaps good business in general?
Yeah.
What do you say?
When we talk about ethics, what caused people to behave unethical behavior, and of course from the business studies, this is under what I call the behavioral studies.
Right.
I can say there are inside and also outside. Inside mean the brought up the person, the moral development of the individual, right from home. You know, you being educated from your parents,
Right.
the basic ethics that you learn from your parents,
Right.
the right and wrong, right? We call the pre-conventional. So if you do this, you will get immediate punishment from your parents. So as you go to the school, then you learn about the general norms, what is supposed to be done, what is not supposed to be done, because this we call the convention.
Right.
The convention mean you have to behave. You go to school, you have to wear uniform. You have to follow the school regulations.
Exactly.
You expect it. And if you don't, you'll be fined
Yeah.
by the authority. If you don't put helmets, so you'll be fined.
Exactly.
But unfortunately, people don't
I'm
put
still
helmets.
doing it, yeah.
Not put no seat belt. Only they
Exactly.
put seat belt when they see the authority.
Exactly.
This is not happening because this the what called the rules, the ethics they learn from school not happening. And then what we want is beyond that. We call the principle base.
Right.
It's not because of the law. It's not because of the expectation from the public,
Right.
but because yourself. You believe, you have the conviction that you cannot live without being truthful to yourself, to be honest to yourself.
Right.
This is what we want. So if you want to say why people are not ethical, of course the brought up the person. Number two, of the environment. Why I say environment? Of course, the person very good, very ethical, brought in a very religious family, but the person went into the environment that influenced the person. For example, we call the bi'ah.
Right.
For example, the colleagues, asking, don't worry, this is small matter,
Right.
don't be so fuzzy about ethics. Your colleagues influence you.
Exactly.
And sometimes also the goal of organization. Have you heard this term called by hook or by crook? The boss say, I don't care.
As long as you get it.
Yeah,
if
you
you
must
want
get
it, we'll
this.
get it. Yeah.
This is, the pressure from the management. And then sometimes due to the what you call the perks and benefit, the competition.
Right.
So you see your friend already got this, you're trying to get the target so that you also can get the promotion and so forth.
In a way, you're pressured to do that.
Yes.
Then. Yeah.
But again, if you have a good inside, the hardware, the heart is very good.
Right.
And then the beat are also good, then only you can be very strong.
Right.
But to say 100% ethics, if even you're coming from the religious background, but if your environment is so bad, you will be diluted. I give a very, very classic example again, the Enron Corporation. The chief financial officer came from a very orthodox Christian family, very strong religious value. But the moment he worked in Enron, the pressure and also the benefit, the perks, and also the whispering from the colleagues make him into another person.
Right.
When he came in Malaysia, I think a long time ago, brought by Malaysian Institute of Accountant, and he really regretted. Because he brought a very, very good, religious family, but because the environment, he couldn't, refrain himself, and he became, very, very
heavily influenced,
betrayed to his own values.
Oh wow!
He involved in that finance scandal for Enron, and brought Enron down, and this embarrassment to the corporate world.
Oh God!
And as a result, no, but again, the scandal doesn't stop there. We have one after another, every country, including in our country. And this is something that very unfortunate. And you're right, to ensure ethics to be practiced, number one, we must have the awareness.
Right.
We need to have the education, the training. Number three, we need to have the reinforcement, the BR Soleha. And number four, we need to get the enforcement. The law must be there.
Right.
You have business ethics, you have code of ethics. Don't just show. Must implement and show your force in the organization.
Without those four elements, it's definitely going to go astray.
Yes.
You know, it's very interesting because when you give the example of the chief, right, that actually shows there's only like one particular scandal, and then the thing already went really, really, you know, down really, really bad. And that actually shows the challenges when it comes to practicing bad business ethics. But because we don't have enough time, then we will back after the commercial break. This is Pecuniary, all about ringgit.
Welcome to 2 Minutes Sharing on How to Be a Great Leader. Here are 9 useful tips for you to jot down as your dream to be a leader. 1. Learn from other leaders. There are many successful leaders in this world that could be an icon for you to follow their journey. 2. Work to build skills. One of the major achievements to be a great leader by having a skilled, different leader. Different skills they got based on their field. 3. Believe you are a leader. Mindset is important to shape ourselves on how we want to be, keeping in mind you are a great leader and have the ability to carry these responsibilities. 4. Take up tasks. Engage more with the member and fill in the gap between it. 5. Share your ideas. Do not afraid to share your ideas with the team. The more you are present within a team, the more people will turn to you. 6. Listen to others. Try to listen to others' opinion and discuss what is the best solution towards the project. 7. Learn how to delegate. Delegate requires planning and considering the skills of everyone on your team. 8. Treat other leaders with respect. Be respectful of the position that everyone on your team has. 9. Know that there are many different types of leaders. Be a kind and respectful leader. Soon you will be a great leader. That's all for 2 minutes sharing on how to a great leader. Thank you for listening.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and welcome back again, everybody. So my name is Asma Mirawaj, and we are with our honorable guest, Professor Dr. Suhaimi. So, Professor, earlier segment we've discussed on the definition, the values, and the SDGs, and then we moved on into the challenges in business ethics, where we actually dive a little bit deep onto the examples of the scandal that causes, that is the outcome of a bad business ethics. So now we're actually going to focus a little bit more and perhaps relate with the things that we've discussed earlier. And for this segment, we're going to talk about CSR, which stands for the Corporate Social Responsibility. So I am going to shoot you the first question, which is, in your opinion, what are some emerging ethical issues that businesses may face in the future, and how should they prepare for these challenges?
Okay, thank you, sister. This corporate social responsibility is an old concept. Actually, when we talk about responsibility there, in business, everything that you do, you must be responsible.
Right.
To the raw material that you obtain, the employees,
right.
The capital that you use, and now the place where you market, distribute. All these are your responsibility. We talk about responsibility.
Right.
So when you talk about corporate social responsibility, company has responsibility to the society, is something that is like, as if you are not responsible.
Exactly.
So when they say this is our CSR, as if of course, in business we have two perspectives.
Right.
What we call the conventional perspective means that business has no responsibility to the society, purely business. But when we are moving into what I call the socio-economic point of view, now we're starting to say that the business must have responsibility to the society. And they have to, why? Because this society are actually their partners in their business. Therefore, in return, they have to do charity, they have to give scholarship and whatnot. This is good, not to deny. But from the marketing point of view, this is what I call the social marketing.
Right.
You are actually investing on your branding through your charity.
Right.
This is called investment. Actually, the charity that they spend is like investment. So that's why for marketing point of view, this is your marketing expenses.
Right.
The scholarship they give as expenses. This is the old term. That's why I say old term. But the new term now we call the Sustainable Development Goals, SDG.
Exactly,
What SDG? This is not just about the society, not just about the business, but entirely almost everyone must be involved in making sure that the economy is good, society is good, and environment is good. But for us, for Muslim,
Right.
our relationship with Allah also must be excellent.
Yes.
This cannot be tolerated. At the end of the day, we have to meet Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala to present what we have done in this world as Khalifah and also as Waziran. But the new thing that you mentioned just now, the emerging, nowadays we're talking about the digital, right?
Exactly.
And we have the artificial intelligence, automation. Everything nowadays can be done with the interference of the digitalization.
Yeah.
Transaction nowadays, you don't have
It's all
to
digital.
bring cash, right?
Exactly.
You use just your e-wallet, and that's what e-wallet is considered also like old. Now check GPT.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about how to compose, your assignments.
Exactly.
You can ask the AI to help you. But again, one thing about AI, AI doesn't have ethics.
Exactly.
AI doesn't have the human sense, doesn't have the empathy,
Right.
doesn't have the spirituality of human, which is the rohi aspect. The responsibility is not there for AI. We talk about the automation, right?
Right.
We talk about the globalization. We talk about the climate change. Now we are experiencing now very hot the weather.
Exactly.
In the past, nobody cares about the temperature. Now our handphone we check. Oh, in the morning, already got 31 degrees Celsius at 10 o'clock. And then at 11, 32 degrees Celsius. At 12, 34 degrees Celsius.
Right.
And now our students have to use umbrella. In the past, our student brothers said, oh, we are men, we cannot use
You're
umbrella.
just gonna walk under the
Oh,
sun.
no,
Yeah.
you have to use umbrella. Otherwise, no, you might be suffering from
Right.
the heat stroke and whatnot.
It's true.
Dehydration and whatnot. This climate change is a real thing happening.
True.
The carbon emission. People are now starting to worry about, the when they purchase electrical appliances, they go for
Right.
the 5-star rating. Mean to say, try not to have any carbon. When I think yesterday, Proton launched the new car with EV, electrical vehicle, with hybrid. So don't use petrol anymore because petrol is fossil. That is is not going to be there forever.
Right.
Yeah, the fossil fuel is going to be depleted, and then what happened? We talk about the solar base, etc.
Yes.
These are all we call the sustainable development to protect our environment. And just now at the beginning I mentioned about the circular flow economy.
Exactly.
Can we live in our world that we don't waste at all?
Right.
Something that we like to waste because we follow the linear flow. What call the farmers produce anything, and then the factory just process.
Right.
Distributor just send to the retailers. At the end, we consumer end up in the dustbin, right? And we don't bother what happened after that.
True.
Look at now what happened. Ramadan. They mentioned about is 6 times higher than the normal. Something very funny. In Ramadan, people are fasting, and yet 6 times higher the amount of solid waste from domestic. This is something that ridiculous. How come in Ramadan we produce so much of waste?
Right.
This waste, where the waste went to? The people have to find land, to have the landfill, and then those cannot be degradable one, then will becoming a pollutant to our environment and so on. Then these are the future, and every summit people talking about the climate change, people talking about the electrical car, electrical how to live in a minimalist. There's something.
Yes, the movement, right? Yeah.
And people talking about how can we now try to live in the minimum way, not to waste. This is something that businesses now have to think how they can accommodate to the situation. It's not because of the demand, it's not because of the price, but now because of the survival in this world. If we don't follow, if we still thinking SDG is not for me, it's just for the government, for the United Nations, I think the whole world that we live in is not going to be sustainable.
True.
Yeah.
You know, Doctor, we've covered from ChatGPT being unethical, and then the need of electrical vehicles to cover up for petrol, and then a lot of these movement and efforts being made so that we can perhaps 100%, even though realistically that will be a long way to go, to actually live in a way where things are sustainable. And all of these are basically the issues that are emerging, and you know, we can still perhaps see that there's possibility for it to go right and also to go bad. And I suppose because you were actually speaking about it as a concerned citizen, of course, and of course this is your specialty. And I suppose before we wrap up, I guess the audience and even myself would love to know what are your hopes for business ethics globally? Like what things that could have been done better? And perhaps you could say it in a very concise manner, Doctor. Go ahead.
Yeah. This business ethics is not going to be just a concept, just in the book, just in the code of ethics, professional ethics. It's going to be practice. What we call the action.
Exactly.
Our university, we have university in Austria in action. Education is not just education, but edu-action.
Edu-action.
Our university introduced to the world, education is about action. University is also action. We have university in action.
Right.
Everything in action. You study sociology in action. You study in psychology action. You study language also action. Actually understand that your discipline that you study can bring a good thing, can bring human closer to the bonding of humans.
Right.
So I hope that this globally people will make ethics, as part of their way of life.
Right.
In Islam, we call the ad-din.
Exactly.
We talk about din. Of course, in Islam, ethics or akhlaq must be what I call accompanied with the knowledge of Aqidah and also with the Sharia. These three must go together. Similarly, we apply to the conventional world. They must have conviction that they must believe that they are living not alone in this world. Number two, they must abide by the procedures, the rules and regulation.
Right.
And number three, all of them must follow respect. Ethics talking about we respect. If you have the majority already decided the global agenda 2030 SDG, of course we can continue. Why can't everybody follow this?
Right.
Of course you have differences in terms of ideology, etc. But this talking about our world, our place whereby we live together. Of course, we are different countries, etc. But we live in the same world.
Right.
Same, climate change, same problem. It's not just about our problem, the entire globe problem. I think this is my hope that ethics is not just about subject. It's not just about discipline.
Yes.
It's about way of life. Ad-din.
Ad-din.
Make it a culture. Then only we can bring what you call prosperity, unity, and sustainability to our world. And of course for Muslim, in the hereafter, in Jannah.
That is a really great sum up for business ethics. And that is a really great, I would say, because we're Muslims, I would say this is a dua for us, I suppose. And because I know that our audience are students watching us. So again, we've covered the definition, the values, SDGs, and of course the challenges. And I really do hope that all the audience would actually take in all the points and try your best to make sure that our generation would produce or at least strive towards good business ethics when it comes to us being part of the management and so on. And I suppose with that basically denotes the end of our show. Thank you very much, Doctor, for coming in, for accepting our invitation to be the speaker. It's definitely been a very, very insightful discussion, and inshallah, we look forward to have you again, inshallah. We can always try to negotiate on the topic. Perhaps we can touch more differently than the business ethics. Not saying that it's a bad thing, it's a great and excellent thing, but perhaps our audience would like to have a different topic to discuss more about. All right, so before I leave you guys, make sure to follow IIUMTV on our social media platform. So that'd be Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, as well as Spotify. And with that, basically we can end our live for tonight. That is all from me. My name is Asma Milurawaj, signing off for Pecuniary Season 5, Episode 1. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Have a great night and stay blessed.